Researchers gave toddlers a simple test. Two groups, same age, same neighborhood, similar family backgrounds. One group scored 20% higher on cognitive performance than the other. The difference had nothing to do with genetics, nothing to do with money, nothing to do with schools or toys or educational content. It came down to one daily habit, something every parent does, but most do in a way that cancels out almost all of its benefit. This video is about that habit, what it is, why it works, and the exact thing you're probably doing that's making it not work. Stay with me. Let's start with what intelligence actually is, because most of us were taught a version of it that neuroscience has largely left behind. For most of the 20th century, IQ was treated as fixed, something you were born with, a ceiling. You either had it or you didn't, and the best a parent could do was hope their child landed on the right side of the distribution. That model is gone. What researchers now understand is that cognitive ability, the capacity to think, reason, connect ideas, hold information, solve problems, is not set at birth. It is built, actively, continuously, environmentally built. And the primary construction window is the first 5 years of life, with the most intensive work happening between ages 1 and 3. The brain at this stage is not just growing, it is wiring. Billions of synaptic connections being formed, tested, strengthened, and pruned based on one thing above all others: the quality and quantity of input from the environment. The environment you create for your toddler is not background. It is architecture, and one daily habit shapes that architecture more than almost anything else researchers have been able to measure. The habit is conversation. Not talking at your toddler, not narrating your day into the air while they sit nearby, not language apps or vocabulary cards or educational audio playing in the background. Conversation, back and forth, turn-taking, responsive, real-time exchange where what you say depends on what they said and what they say next depends on what you said. This distinction matters more than most parents realize, and it is exactly where the benefit gets lost. A 2018 study out of MIT measured brain activity in children ages 4 to 6 during interactions with their caregivers. The children with the highest neural synchrony, the strongest alignment between their brain activity and their parents, were not the children whose parents talked the most. They were the children whose parents had the most back-and-forth exchanges, the most conversational turns. Neural synchrony predicted language scores, cognitive scores, and verbal reasoning ability better than any other single factor they measured. Better than household income, better than parental education, better than the number of books in the home. Conversation, specifically responsive conversation, was the variable. Here is why it works at the level of the brain. When a toddler says something, anything, even a partial word, even a babble, even a point across the room, and you respond to it specifically, something happens inside their prefrontal cortex. The brain registers, my output caused something to happen, my communication had an effect, the world responds to me. That registration activates the neural reward pathway. Dopamine is released. The connection between effort and outcome gets reinforced, and the brain begins building what psychologists call cognitive agency, the internal sense that thinking and communicating are worth doing because they work. Children with high cognitive agency think more, try harder, persist longer, not because they were told to, because their brain learned through hundreds of thousands of small responsive interactions that thinking pays off. Children whose early environment was high in language but low in responsiveness, where adults talked but didn't listen, where the child's attempts went unacknowledged, often develop what researchers describe as learned communicative passivity. They receive language, they just don't engage with it, because their brain never learned that engagement has an effect. This is not permanent, the brain adapts, but it is harder to build at 5 than at 2, and nearly effortless to build now. What does this look like in practice? The research points to one specific behavior as the most powerful lever: following the child's lead. Not directing, not teaching, not steering towards something more educational, following. If your toddler points at a dog and says, "Goggy," you don't correct the pronunciation, you don't redirect, you say, "Yes, dog, big dog, the dog is running. Where is the dog going?" You take their topic, you expand it, you throw the conversational ball back, and then you wait. The waiting matters. Most parents fill silence immediately. But the pause after you respond, the space where you look at your child with genuine expectation, waiting to see what comes next, that pause is where the cognitive work happens. The toddler's brain reaches for its next output, searches for a word, a gesture, a sound. Every time the brain reaches like that and finds something, every time the child produces a response and you receive it, a synapse is strengthened. A pathway is reinforced. Researchers from Harvard's Center on the Developing Child call this process serve and return. The child serves, initiates a communication. The parent returns it, responds specifically to what the child said or did. The child serves again. Back and forth in exchanges that can last anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes, the brain is being built in real time. The number of serve and return exchanges a child has in a day is one of the strongest predictors of cognitive outcomes researchers have found. Not the number of words they hear, the number of exchanges. How much is enough? Even 20 to 30 focused serve and return interactions per day produces measurable cognitive benefit over time. Not per hour, per day. Most parents have far more incidental opportunities than that between waking and bedtime. The challenge is not finding time, it is making the interactions count. The difference between a conversation that counts and one that doesn't comes down to 3 things. Are you responding to what they actually said? Are you waiting for them to respond back? Are you following their topic or redirecting to yours? That's the whole framework. Respond to what they said, wait, follow their lead. Simple to describe, genuinely powerful when practiced with intention. Available to every parent in every home starting today, no equipment, no curriculum, nothing except your attention and a willingness to go where your toddler leads. Your toddler is not waiting for the right toy or the right program. They are waiting for you to answer them. To take their goggy seriously, to expand their more into a real exchange, to treat every babble and point and half-formed word as the beginning of something worth having. Because inside their brain, that is exactly what it is. Every response is a beam in the architecture. Every exchange is a synapse strengthened. Every serve and return is a small piece of the cognitive structure that will carry them through learning, through reasoning, through thinking, for the rest of their life. The habit is free, the window is open, your toddler is already serving. Return it. Share this with a parent who needs to hear it. Leave a comment with your toddler's age. I read every one. You have more power than you think.